I'm your host, DJ B, and welcome to MO3 Case Files, presented by Second to None Media. For years, I've been documenting stories connected to music, culture, and the communities that shape them. Now, we're taking that same approach into the courtroom, breaking down the facts, explaining the legal process, and helping people understand the story beyond the headlines. This is not about rumors. This is not about taking sides. This is about information, understanding, and documenting history as it happens. I'm DJ B. Welcome to MO3 Case Files.
Before a jury ever hears a case, there is a battle that happens behind the scenes. A battle over evidence, a battle over what can be shown, a battle over what questions can be asked. And today, we take you inside that process. What happened today? Today's hearing focused on evidence issues between the prosecution and the defense. The state and defense are not only preparing for trial, they are fighting over the rules of the game before the trial begins. The public reporting around this case shows prosecutors have been seeking to introduce certain evidence, including arguments involving Yella Beezy's lyrics and statements, while the defense has challenged how that evidence should be treated. The state wants to deny Yella Beezy's motion in limine. Your first thought may be, what is a motion in limine? A motion in limine is a request made before trial, asking the judge to decide whether certain evidence, testimony, or subjects can be brought up in front of the jury. Think of it as a legal warning sign. Before the game starts, both teams ask the referee, "Are we allowed to use this play?" More on that and all the motions. We will explain it all. But for now, let's listen into the courtroom, where Judge Chika Aniam is presiding.
Good morning. Y'all may be seated. This is called number X50154, child state offenses versus Hungary. Last week, both sides had rested and closed, and the court recessed to this morning to hear argument of counsel. Both sides ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. The record will reflect that both sides are present and is present with attorneys.
This week, Your Honor, is the state's case on motive and the events that led to the charged offense. This case concerns a rap feud, Your Honor, between known Dallas rappers. Their feud was open, it was public, it was in social media, it was in their media interviews, it was through their music, and it was in the streets of Dallas. This offense did not happen in a vacuum, and the jury is entitled to hear about what transpired that led to one Dallas rapper placing a bounty on another Dallas rapper. While the state's filed a response that outlines every piece of evidence that we'd like to put into evidence, as well as the legal justification for it, I'd like to highlight some this morning, Your Honor. First, we've attempted to narrow down the list of items to only those that go to motive, the feud between the parties, and other evidence that will be corroborated by our grand jury witness and other witnesses. During this hearing, Your Honor, the court heard repeatedly the name Roy Lee Pate regarding how this feud got started. It's in the grand jury testimony, and Louisville PD even asked the defendant, does this feud have anything to do with Roy Lee Pate? And he said, I think so. Now, the shooting and the death of Roy Lee Pate will not be admitted as 404B evidence against the defendant that he committed it. It's merely going to be suggested as the starting point between the feud between the parties. And we know that it has something to do with this feud because hours after his death, the defendant is shot while driving home multiple times. Louisville PD tells him the next day that the vehicle that pulled alongside of him belongs to the decedent's head of security. 2 months later, more Sprinter van is shot up. Now, both of these shootings are not extraneous offenses committed by the defendant. They are not other bad acts committed by the defendant. They are not 404B evidence. Rather, they are contextual, pre-existing events that led and explain why the offense occurred. They go to motive, Your Honor. Because 2 months after Moore is shot, or his Sprinter van is shot up, the decedent releases his song 219. And in that song, he makes certain declarations that he is responsible for both shootings. Now, these declarations, these statements against interest, leave no doubt in the defendant's mind who's responsible for the attempt on his life or the attempt on Moore's life. It is the state's theory, Your Honor, that the defendant and co-conspirator Moore conspired to finance the murder in retaliation for the attempts on their life. The state's case is further supported by the subsequent events that occurred afterwards. We heard from Detective Barnes concerning the Unruly Citizens concert. There, Detective Barnes and his partner felt they needed to step in because the violence had escalated to the point that it would be dangerous for the general public. Again, the event in of itself is not 404B evidence, but what we do get is the defendant's admissions after the event, right? And the court got to see his social media post right afterwards. That goes directly to motive, and it is further evidence of ill will between the parties because he says it in, if you recall, everything is not sweet on this end regarding his relationship to the decedent. Right after the concert, Your Honor, we have the V-Lad interview where we get to see the defendant or hear him attempt to say that he doesn't know who the decedent is, right? And then we get a good insight into his beliefs concerning forgiveness and his need to get the lick back. These admissions are pure motive evidence. After that, we have the defendant's attack on Rainwater, the decedent's manager. Then Moore is shot again. This time he's shot in the leg. Again, the shooting of Moore is not 404B evidence. 2 weeks later, the decedent is ambushed by Moore's associates at V-Live in Houston. And then 2 months after that, we have the murder. This timeline event goes directly to 3836 evidence about the prior relationship. It's contextual evidence concerning an ongoing feud, Your Honor. And it goes to show the motive of the parties. And the jury should be entitled to know what transpired before. And the state has a great need to show its case on motive as well as to corroborate some of its witnesses' testimonies. Since the majority of this evidence is not 404B evidence, the state plans to introduce most of this evidence contemporaneously with state's witnesses as they testify to the charged offense. And when we look at, ultimately, the amount of evidence that's going to be produced concerning the feud, it will be negligible in comparison to the amount of evidence that we're going to put on concerning the murder. Your Honor, this evidence, the feud evidence, is not unfairly prejudicial. Regarding the rap music, no Texas court or federal circuit court has ever drawn a bright line concerning rap music. The CCA in Hart and almost every federal circuit court, but I cite to the Sixth Circuit in Stuckey, recognize that rap music is highly prejudicial. But despite that recognition, they still conduct a 403 analysis, Your Honor. In my recent filed response, I cited to 2 recent cases. There are only 2 cases from Texas since Hart. It is Brown and Williams, Texarkana and Fort Worth. Both of these courts adhere to Hart, recognize that rap music is highly prejudicial, but still conducted their own 403 analysis. And in those cases, their lyrics were found to be more probative than prejudicial. While we don't prosecute individuals for rapping about music, Your Honor, in a murder prosecution, the lyrics can be probative where they speak to the murder, the feud, the party's motives. You heard from Detective Barnes, lyrics do not drive his investigation. It's his investigation that leads him to.
Today, we took our first look inside the courtroom and began understanding the legal battle happening before a jury ever hears this case. The state presented its arguments and explained why it believes certain evidence should be considered during the trial. But remember, an argument from either side is not a verdict. The courtroom process is designed to allow both sides to challenge, question, and present their positions before a decision is ever made. This is why pretrial hearings matter. Before a jury decides what happened, the judge must first decide what information the jury will be allowed to hear. In the next chapter of MO3 Case Files, we turn our attention to the other side of the courtroom. Episode 2, The Defense Response, Challenging the Evidence. We will break down the defense's arguments, what they are asking the court to consider, and why motions like these can shape the direction of a trial. This is MO3 Case Files, hosted by DJ B, presented by Second to None Media. The story continues.